The sky burned orange over the human settlement of New Alamo, a dusty sprawl on the edge of the Orion Arm. From orbit, the planet looked like a bruised peach, swirls of toxic storms, jagged continents of volcanic rock, and oceans that hissed with acid. To the galactic Concord, it was a class, 12-death world, unfit for sentient life. Yet here were humans, not just surviving, but thriving, their laughter echoing through the haze as they fired up grills in their backyards. The scent of charred meat and smoke drifted upward, a defiant middle finger to the universe's rules. Crickstar, first observer of the Concord's Xenobiology Division, hovered in his cloaked scout pod, his 4 optic stalks twitching with unease. His species, the Volari, were delicate, translucent membranes, sensitive to light, heat, and anything louder than a whisper. Earth was a nightmare to them. Crickstar's mission was simple: observe the humans, report why they hadn't died out, and assess their threat level. The Concord had dismissed humans as primitive, but Crickstar wasn't so sure. Not after the reports, fleets vanishing near human colonies, ambassadors returning pale and gibbering about barbecues. He adjusted the pod sensors, zooming in on a human family below. A male, broad-shouldered and scarred, flipped slabs of meat on a metal grate over open flames. Children ran barefoot across jagged gravel, shrieking with joy. A female poured a dark liquid into cups, her hand steady despite the planet's 1.3 G gravity. Crickstar's data slate pinged, atmospheric toxins, 17% above Concord safety thresholds. Temperature, 38 degrees Celsius. Radiation levels, moderate. Yet the humans moved as if the world wasn't trying to kill them. Why do they do this? Crickstar muttered, his mandibles clicking. The Volari ate nutrient gels in sterile chambers. Fire was a catastrophe, not a tool. His sensors flagged the smoke, complex hydrocarbons, potential carcinogens. The humans were inhaling it, laughing as they did. Madness. Below, the male, Jake, according to intercepted comms, yelled, "Who wants seconds?" A cheer erupted. Crickstar's translator struggled with the context. Seconds? Additional exposure to toxins? He tapped his slate, cross-referencing human behavior. The data was sparse. Humans were new to the Concord, a species barely 200 years into spacefaring. Yet they'd colonized 47 death worlds, planets even the warlike Krogan avoided. The Concord assumed it was dumb luck. Crickstar suspected otherwise. His pod's comms crackled. "Observer report," came the voice of High Arbiter's UNVA, her tone sharp. The Volari elite didn't tolerate delays. "Humans are cooking," Crickstar said, struggling for words. "They burn organic matter and consume it. Outdoors. In groups." "Barbaric," ZYNVA hissed. "Are they a threat?" Crickstar hesitated. The Concord's threat scale ranked species by tech, population, and aggression. Humans scored low on tech, crude fusion drives, no psionic amplifiers, but their aggression was ambiguous. They fought wars over dirt, yet built hospitals for enemies. They tamed predators, then cuddled them. "Inconclusive," he said finally. "I need more data." "Then get closer," ZYNVA snapped. "The council meets in 3 cycles. If humans are a problem, we neutralize them." Crickstar's membrane shivered. Neutralization meant orbital bombardment. He'd seen it erase species before. The humans didn't deserve that, not yet. He nudged the pod lower, cloaking field humming, until he was 50 meters above the backyard. The heat made his sensors flicker. Jake tossed a frisbee, and a child dove into the dirt to catch it, skin scraping bloody. The child laughed, unbothered. Crickstar's stalks widened. Pain tolerance, extreme. His slate pinged again, local fauna detected. A furry creature, a dog, per human records, bounded toward the grill, tail wagging. Jake tossed it a chunk of meat. The dog devoured it, then rolled in the dirt, ecstatic. Crickstar's mandibles froze. The dog's vitals showed it thriving in conditions that would kill a Volari in minutes. Symbiotic relationship? He scanned the meat. High protein, saturated fats, trace toxins. The humans were eating the same thing. His data slate buzzed with a hypothesis. Humans and their fauna share adaptive resilience. Then it happened. A siren wailed across New Alamo. Crickstar's pod jolted as his sensor screamed. Incoming energy signature. A Concorde patrol drone uncloaked, streaked overhead. Unauthorized. Rogue. Crickstar's comms lit up with ZYNVA's voice. Observer explain. Not mine. Crickstar hissed, scrambling to trace the drone. It wasn't Valari tech, too angular, too fast. Krogan maybe. The warlike species had been sniffing around human borders, testing weaknesses. The drone fired a pulse, and a nearby shed exploded into splinters. The humans didn't scream. They moved. Jake grabbed a metal rod from the grill, still glowing red, and shouted, "Kids, bunker, now." The female, Sarah, snatched a device from her belt, a crude kinetic weapon. The children ran, not in panic, but with purpose, ducking into a reinforced hatch. The dog barked, teeth bared. Crickstar's stalks quivered. Organized response. No hesitation. The drone fired again, carving a trench in the dirt. Sarah aimed her weapon and shot. The recoil bruised her shoulder. She didn't flinch. The drone sparked but kept flying. Jake sprinted toward a shed, dodging plasma bolts, and emerged with a larger weapon, a shotgun per human records. He fired, and the drone wobbled, trailing smoke. Crickstar's slate screamed. Human adrenaline spike, 300% above baseline. His sensors couldn't keep up. Jake and Sarah moved like predators, not prey. The drone looped for another pass, but Jake was already climbing a pile of rubble, shotgun braced. He fired again, and the drone exploded in a fireball. The humans cheered. Crickstar's membranes pulsed with shock. A single human family, armed with primitive weapons, had downed a Krogan drone. The Concorde's best scouts couldn't do that. He tapped his slate, recording. Human combat effectiveness. Underestimated. Then he saw it. Jake returned to the grill, unfazed, and flipped the meat. Sarah bandaged a child's scraped knee, her hand steady. The dog wagged its tail, chewing another scrap. The humans resumed their barbecue, as if nothing had happened. Crickstar's translator caught Jake's words. Damn drones. Meat's still good, though. Crickstar's report to ZYNVA was brief. Humans are unpredictable. Recommend further observation. Unacceptable. ZYNVA snapped. The council demands clarity. Are they a threat or not? Crickstar stared at the humans below, laughing in the face of a Deathworld's wrath. He thought of the drone, the fire, the meat. They're dangerous, he said softly, but not in the way we think. As he piloted the pod away, Crickstar felt a chill. The Concorde saw humans as primitives, but primitives didn't laugh at death. They didn't turn fire into a feast. And they didn't make aliens like him question everything. The twin suns of New Alamo dipped below the horizon, painting the sky a sickly green as acidic clouds swirled. Crickstar's scout pod hovered silently, cloaked, 200 meters above the human settlement. His 4 optic stalks twitched, still processing the events of the previous day. A single human family, Jake, Sarah, their children, and that baffling dog, had obliterated a Krogan drone with nothing but grit and crude weapons. The Concorde's data on humans was wrong. Dangerously wrong. Crickstar's membranes pulsed with a mix of dread and fascination. He had to know more. His data slate hummed, pulling him from his thoughts. A new alert. Multiple energy signatures detected. Krogan assault craft, bearing 270 degrees, 12 kilometers out. His mandibles clicked in alarm. The Krogans were back, and this wasn't a lone drone. This was a raid. Below, the humans were still at their barbecue. The grill glowed, casting shadows across the rocky yard. Jake handed out plates of charred meat, while Sarah laughed, tossing a ball for the dog. The children chased each other, dodging jagged stones without a care. Crickstar's sensors flagged their vitals. Heart rate steady. No distress. Didn't they sense the danger? His slate estimated the Krogan craft would arrive in 8 minutes. He tapped his comms, hesitant. Reporting this to High Arbiter ZYNVA would escalate things, possibly to bombardment. But staying silent felt worse. Observer status. ZYNVA's voice crackled unprompted. The Valari's psionic amplifiers gave her uncanny timing. Your last report was vague. The council grows impatient. Crickstar's stalks drooped. Krogan incursion imminent. Assault craft approaching human settlement. I'm observing their response. Krogans. ZYNVA's tone sharpened. If humans can't handle them, they're irrelevant. If they can, they're a threat. Either way, your data will decide their fate. Do not interfere. The comms cut off. Krikstar's membrane shivered. The Concord's logic was cold. Weak species were ignored, strong ones erased. Humans were neither, and that made them dangerous. He zoomed his sensors, focusing on Jake. The human male was wiping sweat from his brow, his scarred hand steady as he sipped a dark liquid. Beer, per human records. Krikstar's slate flagged it. Mild neurotoxin, recreational. Insanity. A low rumble shook the air. The Krogan craft, three angular, spiked hulks, broke through the clouds, their engines spitting plasma. Krikstar's sensor screamed, weapons hot. Particle lances, 80% charge. The Krogans weren't here to scout. They were here to kill. In the yard, Jake froze, beer halfway to his lips. Sarah's head snapped up, her hand already on her kinetic weapon. The children stopped playing, their laughter gone. The dog growled, hackles raised. Krikstar expected panic. Instead, Jake shouted, bunker protocol now. The family moved like a unit. Sarah herding the kids toward the reinforced hatch, Jake sprinting for the shed. The dog followed, teeth bared. Krikstar's slate pinged. Human adrenaline spike, 400% above baseline. Their vitals surged, but their movements were precise, practiced. The first Krogan craft fired, a lance of blue energy, carving a trench through the settlement's edge. Shanties exploded into slag. Humans in neighboring yards didn't scream. They ran, grabbing weapons, ducking into bunkers. Krikstar's stalks widened. Community-wide coordination. No chaos. Jake emerged from the shed, now carrying a larger weapon. A rocket launcher, per human records. Sarah reappeared, a rifle slung over her shoulder, her face grim but focused. The dog stayed at her side, snarling. Krikstar's sensors caught a radio burst. All hands, Krogan inbound. Rally at the ridge. Bring the big guns. The voice was Jake's, calm as if ordering more meat for the grill. The Krogans landed, their craft disgorging 8-foot-tall warriors in spiked armor. Krikstar knew their kind, genetically engineered for war, with hides that could shrug off plasma bolts. The Concorde feared them. The humans apparently did not. Jake fired his rocket launcher, and a Krogan staggered, its armor cracked. Sarah's rifle barked, precise shots hitting joints where the armor was weak. The dog, that damn dog, lunged at a Krogan's leg, tearing into synthetic mesh with impossible strength. Krikstar's slate buzzed. Human combat efficiency, 92% above Concorde projections. He tapped furiously, recording every move. The humans weren't just fighting, they were winning. A second Krogan fell, its skull caved in by a human wielding a metal pipe. A third craft fired, but the humans scattered, using the terrain like they'd trained for this their whole lives. Krikstar's membranes pulsed. They're not just surviving, they're thriving. Then he saw it. In the chaos, Jake ran back to the grill. Krikstar's stalks twitched in disbelief. The human grabbed a slab of meat, still sizzling, and stuffed it into his mouth. He chewed, grinned, and shouted, "Can't let good brisket go to waste." Sarah laughed, a sharp, defiant sound, and fired another shot. The children, safe in the bunker, cheered through a comms link. Krikstar's translator struggled. Brisket? Food during combat? His slate pinged again. Psychological resilience, unquantifiable. The humans weren't just fighting for survival. They were fighting for their way of life, their barbecue, their laughter, their stubborn refusal to break. Krikstar's mandibles clicked. The Concorde's threat scale had no category for this. A Krogan roared, charging Jake. The human didn't flinch. He dropped the launcher, grabbed a metal skewer from the grill, still red hot, and drove it into the Krogan's eye. The alien howled, collapsing. Jake wiped his hands on his pants, muttering, "Should have stayed home, buddy." Krikstar's comms crackled. Observer report. ZYNVA's voice was shrill. Are the humans defeated? No, Krikstar said, his voice steady. They're winning. Against Krogans. With minimal tech. Impossible, ZYNVA hissed. Krogans are apex predators. Humans, Krikstar said, watching Jake toss another skewer like a spear, are something else. The battle raged for 20 minutes. The humans lost 3 shanties, 2 vehicles, and 1 life, a neighbor caught in a plasma blast. Crixthar expected despair. Instead, the humans rallied. Sarah organized a triage, bandaging wounds with strips torn from her shirt. Jake led a counterattack, luring the last Krogan into a trap, a pit lined with sharpened rebar. The dog dragged a wounded human to safety, tail still wagging. When the dust settled, the Krogans were dead or fleeing. The humans returned to their yards. Jake fired up the grill again, the flames licking new slabs of meat. Sarah cracked open a beer, her hands bloodied but steady. The children ran out, laughing, as if the world hadn't just tried to end them. Crixthar's slate buzzed, emotional recovery rate, 200% faster than Concord species. He tapped his comms. Hi, Arbiter. The humans are not a threat in the traditional sense. But they're dangerous. They don't just survive, they celebrate in the face of death. ZYNVA was silent for a moment. Elaborate. They fight, they laugh, they eat, Crixthar said. Their barbecue isn't just food. It's defiance. A ritual of strength. Primitive nonsense, ZYNVA snapped. Prepare a full report. The council will decide their fate. Crixthar cut the comms, his stalks fixed on the humans below. Jake raised a beer, toasting the sky. For a moment, Crixthar swore the human was looking right at him. His membrane shivered. The Concord didn't understand. This wasn't just a death world. It was their world. And they'd fight for every smoky, bloody inch of it. The air over New Alamo shimmered with heat, the twin suns clawing through the toxic haze. Crixthar's scout pod hovered closer than protocol allowed, its cloaking field straining under the planet's electromagnetic interference. His 4 optic stalks quivered, locked on the human settlement below. The Krogan's raid had left scars, smoldering shanties, craters in the dirt, but the humans were already rebuilding. And impossibly barbecuing. The scent of charred meat and smoke curled upward, taunting Crixthar's sensors. His data slate buzzed, atmospheric toxins, 19% above Concord's safety thresholds. Yet the humans laughed, their voices carrying over the crackle of flames. Crixthar's membranes pulsed with unease. His last report to High Arbiter ZYNVA had been dismissed as inconclusive. The Concord's council was restless, their patience thinning. Humans were an anomaly, too weak to ignore, too resilient to classify. Crixthar's orders were clear: observe, analyze, do not engage. But the barbecue below wasn't just a meal. It was a puzzle, a ritual that defied logic. He had to understand it, even if it meant breaking every rule in the Valari code. Below, Jake stoked the grill, flames licking slabs of meat. Sarah sat on a crate, cleaning her rifle, her eyes scanning the horizon. The children played a game, tossing rocks into a crater left by the Krogan attack, cheering each hit. The dog, that relentless creature, gnawed a bone, its fur singed but spirit unbroken. Crixthar's slate pinged. Human emotional stability, 95% post-combat. No Concord species recovered this fast. The Valari would have been catatonic for weeks. His comms crackled. Observer, your silence is unacceptable. ZYNVA's voice cut through, sharp as a blade. The council demands your final assessment. Are the humans a threat or prey? Crixthar's mandibles clicked. He couldn't answer, not yet. I require direct observation, he said, voice steady despite the lie forming. Their rituals are complex. I'm analyzing their cultural significance. Cultural. ZYNVA's tone dripped with disdain. They're primitives. You have one cycle before we deploy a pacification fleet. Do not fail. The comms cut off. Crixthar's stalks twitched. A pacification fleet meant annihilation. He couldn't let that happen, not until he understood why the humans clung to their barbecue in the face of death. He tapped his slate, disabling the pod's cloaking field. The hum faded and the pod shimmered into view, a sleek orb glinting in the green sky. His membranes shivered. This was madness. But he had to know. He guided the pod down, landing in a clearing 50 meters from the human yard. The ground crunched under the pod struts, acidic soil hissing against the hull. Crixthar donned a protective suit, clumsy, but it would shield his delicate membranes from Earth's wrath. He stepped out, his 6 legs unsteady in the 1.3 g gravity. The air burned his sensors. Temperature, 39 degrees Celsius. Radiation, elevated. He clutched his slate, its screen flashing warnings. Jake spotted him first. The human froze, meat tongs in hand, eyes narrowing. "Sarah, we got company," he called, voice low but calm. Sarah grabbed her rifle, standing in one fluid motion. The children stopped playing, and the dog growled, hackles raised. Crickstar raised 2 limbs, a Volari gesture of peace, though he doubted the humans knew it. "Don't shoot," Crickstar said, his translator buzzing with a synthesized human voice. "I am t'observer, not enemy." Jake stepped forward, tongs still in hand, sizing up Crickstar's translucent form. "Observer, huh? You with the spiky bastards from yesterday." "No," Crickstar said quickly. "I am Volari, Concord Xenobiology Division. I study your kind." Sarah lowered her rifle slightly, but her finger stayed near the trigger. "Study us? From where? That shiny ball in the sky." She nodded toward the pod. Crickstar's stalks twitched. "Perceptive." "Yes," he admitted. "I mean no harm. I wish to understand your barbecue." Jake blinked, then laughed, a deep, booming sound that made Crickstar's membranes vibrate. "You came all the way down here for brisket? Hell, why didn't you say so?" He waved a hand. "Come on over. Don't mind the dog, she's all bark." Crickstar hesitated. His slate screamed, proximity to humans, unsafe. Contamination risk, high. But he shuffled forward, his suit's joints creaking. The humans didn't attack. Instead, they watched curious, as if he were the oddity. Jake pulled a crate over. "Sit. Or, whatever you do. Want a beer?" Crickstar's translator faltered. "Beer? The neurotoxin?" "No, thank you," he said, settling awkwardly on the crate. The grill's heat made his suit's cooling system whine. "Your barbecue. Why do you do it? After the attack, you continue. Why?" Sarah sat across from him, rifle across her lap. "It's not just food, Bug Eyes," she said, her tone friendly but sharp. "It's us. It's family. It's saying screw you to anything trying to break us." Crickstar's stalks tilted. Defiance. "Damn right," Jake said, flipping a slab of meat. The flames flared, and Crickstar flinched. Jake grinned. "See, this planet wants us dead. Acid rain, quakes, those Krogan assholes. But we don't just survive. We live. We eat good, we laugh, we stick together. That's what the barbecue's about." Crickstar's slate pinged, cultural ritual. Social bonding, psychological reinforcement. He tapped it off. Data couldn't capture this. The children ran over, staring at his stalks. One, a girl with dirt-streaked cheeks, held out a stick with a charred piece of meat. "Try it," she said. "It's good." His membranes pulsed. Ingest foreign matter? His suit's filters could analyze it, but eating was unthinkable. Yet the girl's eyes were earnest, fearless. He extended a limb, taking the stick. The meat smelled of smoke and spice, alien to his nutrient gel diet. He hesitated, then pressed it to his intake port. His suit's analyzer word, protein, 22%. Spices, capsaicin irritant. He braced for pain. It wasn't pain. It was intense. Warmth spread through his system, his membranes tingling. His slate buzzed, neurological response, positive. He clicked his mandibles, stunned. The humans cheered, the dog barking as if in approval. Jake slapped his knee. "Told ya. Brisket's universal." Crickstar's stalks quivered. This was more than defiance. It was joy, raw and unfiltered, in a world that should have crushed them. His comms crackled, ZYNVA, no doubt, but he ignored it. "You do this always?" he asked. "Every chance we get," Sarah said, her voice softening. "Lost a neighbor yesterday. Tom. Good guy. We'll barbecue for him tonight. Keep his memory alive." Crickstar's translator caught the weight of her words. Memorial ritual. His slate couldn't quantify it, but his membranes felt it, a pang, sharp and unfamiliar. The Volari didn't mourn. They archived. Humans burned meat and laughed through their pain. A rumble shook the ground. Crickstar's sensors flared. Krogan craft, 5 kilometers out. Multiple signatures. His stalks snapped up. You are under attack again. Jake didn't flinch. He grabbed his rocket launcher, grinning. Guess they didn't learn. Sarah, kids, you know the drill. Sarah nodded, herding the children to the bunker. The dog snarled, ready. Jake turned to Crixthar. You in or out, Bug Eyes? Crixthar froze. Engage? It was forbidden. But the humans' fire, their laughter, their meat, it burned in him now. He tapped his slate, activating the pod's micro-turret. In, he said, his translator steady. Jake laughed. All right, alien. Let's show M how we barbecue. The ground of New Alamo trembled as Krogan assault craft roared closer, their spiked hulls tearing through the toxic green clouds. Crixthar's protective suit whined under the strain of Earth's 1.3G gravity, his 4 optic stalks twitching as he stood in the human settlement's dusty yard. His decision to fight alongside Jake, Sarah, and their community broke every Concord protocol. His data slate screamed warnings, engagement forbidden, risk of exposure critical. But the barbecue's smoke still lingered in his intake port, its strange warmth fueling a defiance he didn't understand. The humans' laughter, their meat, their stubborn joy, it had infected him. Jake crouched behind a crate, rocket launcher braced on his shoulder. 5 craft heavy guns, he muttered, peering through a crack scope. Sarah, rifle in hand, signaled to neighbors emerging from bunkers, each armed with scavenged weapons, shotguns, plasma cutters, even a wrench-wielding teenager. The dog, Daisy, growled beside Crixthar, her singed fur bristling. Crixthar's sensors flagged her vitals, adrenaline spike, 250%. Even the beast was ready. Crixthar tapped his slate, syncing his pod's micro-turret to target the lead Krogan craft. I can disrupt their shields, he said, his translator buzzing. But I am not warrior. Jake grinned, teeth flashing. Don't need to be. Just aim and don't die. He slapped Crixthar's suit, the impact jarring his membranes. Welcome to the barbecue, Bug Eyes. The first Krogan craft fired, a particle lance carving a glowing scar across the settlement. Shanties exploded, showering the yard with debris. Crixthar's stalks ducked instinctively, but the humans didn't flinch. Sarah fired her rifle, a precise shot clipping a Krogan gunner's helmet. Jake's rocket launcher roared, sending a projectile that detonated against a craft's hull, forcing it to veer. The neighbors charged, a ragtag line of humans wielding whatever they had. A woman with a welding torch burned through a Krogan's armor. A man with a crowbar cracked another's knee joint. Daisy lunged, tearing into a Krogan's leg with feral precision. Crixthar's turret hummed, firing a pulse that scrambled the lead craft shields. It wobbled, exposing its underbelly. Jake hooped, firing another rocket. The craft erupted in a fireball, raining shrapnel. Crixthar's slate pinged. Human coordination, 98% efficiency. He clicked his mandibles, stunned. The Concord's elite squads couldn't match this. A second craft landed, disgorging 6 Krogans, 8-foot behemoths with spiked armor and plasma axes. They roared, charging the humans. Crixthar's suit sensors screamed. Threat level, lethal. He froze, his Valari instincts urging retreat. Then he saw Jake, standing over a fallen neighbor, a bloody pipe in one hand, the other tossing a sizzling skewer from the grill to a child in the bunker. Eat up, kid. Jake yelled, then swung the pipe, cracking a Krogan skull. Crixthar's membranes pulsed. This was the barbecue, not just food, but courage, shared in the face of death. He tapped his slate, overclocking the turret. It fired wildly, shredding a Krogan's armor. Sarah grabbed his limb, pulling him behind cover. Nice shot, Bug Eyes, she said, her voice fierce but warm. Keep it up. The battle raged, humans and Krogans clashing in a storm of fire and blood. Crixthar's turret ran dry, its circuits fried. A Krogan loomed over him, axe raised. His stalks quivered, death was certain. Then Daisy leaped, sinking teeth into the Krogan's wrist. The alien howled, and Jake finished it with a shotgun blast. Told you she's all bark, he said, winking. Crixthar's comms crackled. Observer, you've gone silent. ZYNVA's voice was furious. Report or face sanctions. He ignored her, helping Sarah drag a wounded human to safety. The man, bleeding from a plasma burn, gripped Krixthar's limb. "Thanks, alien," he rasped. "You're all right." Krixthar's membranes tingled, a sensation his slate couldn't name: gratitude. The humans repelled the Krogans, their losses heavy: 3 dead, a dozen wounded. Yet, as the craft retreated, the settlers didn't collapse. They rebuilt, dragging debris to fortify bunkers. Jake fired up the grill again, the flames a beacon in the dusk. Sarah handed out plates, her hands steady despite the blood on them. The children sang, their voices defiant. Krixthar stood among them, his suit scorched, feeling something new: belonging. Jake offered him another piece of meat. "You earned this, Bug Eyes." Krixthar took it, the capsaicin burning his intake port. His slate buzzed, neurological response: euphoric. He clicked his mandibles, a Valari laugh. The humans cheered. But his comms buzzed again. ZYNVA's voice was cold. "You've engaged, observer. The council knows. Return immediately, or you're branded a traitor." Krixthar's stalks drooped. He looked at the humans, their fire, their unbreakable spirit. "I need more time," he said, and cut the comms.